You've worked your whole life in the US, paid taxes for decades, sacrificed your health and your youth, but when retirement finally comes, you find yourself counting every dollar to cover rent, medication, utilities. At an age when you should be relaxing and enjoying life, you're instead weighing every bill, every meal, every trip. But this could change in just 24 hours. Not 5 years, not 5 months. Just one day. To hold in your hands a free, permanent residency card. Your ticket to live, work, receive health care, and enjoy full benefits, without the endless paperwork and waiting that immigration usually means. Picture this. Today, you're still in your familiar kitchen, sighing over a stack of bills. Tomorrow, you could be sipping coffee on a balcony overlooking the ocean, living legally, safely, and comfortably in a new country that welcomes you. Instead of just tolerating you, dream it, pack it, go. 5. Panama, a VIP destination for retirement. Picture this. A morning in Panama. The sun is just peeking over lush, green mountains, and you're riding your bike along the shoreline with your partner. Not because you have to, not to get your steps in, but simply because you want to. Here, time isn't measured by a 6 a.m. alarm clock. It's measured by the sound of waves, the calls of tropical birds, and the smell of freshly brewed coffee drifting from little cafes along the road. Panama isn't just a beautiful backdrop. It's a dream destination for thousands of American retirees. And the secret? A lifetime residency ticket they call the Pensionado Visa. What makes Panama's Pensionado program legendary in the retirement community is its simplicity and its generosity. If you have a lifetime pension or income of just $1,000 a month, the government will grant you permanent residency. No renewal required. And that's only the beginning of the story. With this card in hand, you step into a world of benefits few places can match. Duty-free imports on household goods, 25% off your utility bills, discounts on airline tickets, on healthcare services, even on movie tickets. It feels like you've just become a VIP member of an exclusive club, where the membership fee is simply the pension you already have. When it comes to the cost of living, Panama gives many Americans a pleasant shock. On average, one person can live comfortably here for just $700 to $1,300 a month, depending on the city and your lifestyle. In smaller towns, you can rent a clean, one-bedroom apartment near markets and beaches for around $600 a month. Even in Panama City, the modern capital where skyscrapers reflect the sunset over the legendary canal, rents often hover around $1,000, or just a bit more. Fresh produce from the market, fish caught that very morning, or a hearty local meal for half or even a third of U.S. prices will make you quickly forget the stress of opening bills back home. But low living costs alone aren't enough. Healthcare is often the biggest concern when you think about retiring abroad. In Panama, this is another major plus. Many hospitals in Panama City partner with U.S. medical institutions with internationally trained doctors, and it's not uncommon to find English-speaking physicians. You can choose the public system at a very low cost or opt for private health insurance, ranging from $50 a month to about $900 a month for premium coverage. Private consultations, just $30 to $50, a figure that makes many Americans exclaim, "Back home, that would barely cover the parking fee at the hospital." Panama is one of the safest and most stable countries in Central America, second only to Costa Rica. Serious violent incidents? They rarely touch the daily lives of retirees, and with just a few simple precautions, like not flaunting valuables in crowded places, you'll find yourself in a friendly, peaceful environment. The locals here? They've been used to the American community since the days of the Panama Canal Zone. So, being greeted in English or offered help when you need it is almost a given. Want vibrancy? Head to Panama City, a place where the energy of a modern metropolis meets the old-world charm of Casco Viejo. Want cool weather? Year-round? Boquete, a mountain town known for its gardens and world-class coffee, will steal your heart. Dreaming of endless afternoons on the beach? Coronado or Bocas del Toro will give you just that. Politically, Panama has kept a stable democracy, but sometimes the people remind the world that their voice carries weight. In late 2023, tens of thousands filled the streets to protest a mining contract with a Canadian company. They feared it would harm the environment and the country's sovereignty. For weeks, major roads were blocked. Then, the Supreme Court stepped in, declared the contract null and void, and tensions faded. For retirees, aside from a few days of tricky shopping, due to traffic disruptions, life went on, almost unchanged. And if you look at it from a positive angle, this was proof that Panama listens and adapts for the greater good. Linda and George, a couple from Florida, their story says it all. They spent 35 years saving for retirement, yet they still feared it wouldn't be enough if they stayed in the U.S. Then one trip to Panama changed everything. They heard about the pensionado visa. 3 months later, they came back, not as tourists, but to begin a new life. Now, every morning, they ride their bikes to the beach. They sip coffee with friends they didn't even know a year ago. Here, George smiles. We don't live to pay bills anymore. We live to live. And that's the thing about Panama. It's not just a place on a map. It's a chance to rewrite your last chapter, with sunshine, sea breezes, and laughter on every page. So what about you? Is it time to swap morning traffic jams in America for a slow, quiet day by the Panama Canal? If one day, you could take just a few steps and see both the Pacific and the Atlantic, would you choose it? Comment below, I want to live between two oceans, if Panama is your dream retirement spot. And remember, like, subscribe, so we can find the next gateway to paradise together. 4. Peru, the kingdom of slow time. If Panama is like a VIP retirement card, then Peru takes the form of a ticket back to slowness. A place where time is measured by the sound of a guitar drifting from a cafe corner in Cusco, by the scent of roasted corn carried on the afternoon breeze in Arequipa's plaza, and by those moments when every step leads you to a story hundreds of years old. This is not just the land of Machu Picchu. It is also a place where an American retiree can hold permanent residency from day one, simply by having a foreign pension of at least $1,000 per month. With the rentista visa, you don't have to renew it, you don't need to reprove your finances, and you are even exempt from paying income tax on your pension. The only condition you cannot work in Peru, but with that amount, combined with the strength of the U.S. dollar here, you'll find you don't need to work to maintain a comfortable life. Often with just $1,500, $2,000 per month, you can live generously, even indulging yourself from time to time with a pisco sour at an upscale bar. The cost of living in Peru is like a pleasant equation. Renting a one-bedroom apartment in Lima costs only $400, $900, or less if you move away from the capital. Local food from fresh fish at coastal markets to potatoes and quinoa from the highlands is up to half the price compared to the US. The beauty is that every dollar you bring here suddenly grows much larger, unlocking a quality of life that, in the US, the same amount might only cover a few bills. When it comes to healthcare, Peru is a picture of two halves. The public system is cheap or even free, but crowded and slow. The private system, especially in Lima, Arequipa, and Cusco, is modern, fast, with many doctors trained abroad who sometimes speak fluent English. A private consultation costs only $30, $50. Private health insurance ranges from $100, $200 per month, and if you're healthy, you might even feel you don't need insurance and can comfortably pay for visits out of pocket. Only when complex treatments are required, do some. Choose to return to the US or go to a neighboring country. Peru is not perfect, but it has a strange charm. You can choose to live in Miraflores or Barranco, safe, modern districts of Lima, where you can walk to the beach every afternoon. Or you can opt for a lush valley in the Sacred Valley Highlands, where the climate is eternal spring, and you'll learn to greet neighbors in both Spanish and a few Quechua words. Petty crime exists in crowded areas, but as long as you stay alert, just as you would in any big city. You'll find Peru to be very friendly. Politically, Peru is not as calm as a still river. At the end of 2022, the removal of President Pedro Castillo and his replacement by Dina Boluarte sparked intense protests, especially in the Andes. News at the time was filled with images of blocked streets, but most retirees in safe areas were affected only by disrupted transportation. By the end of 2023, the Supreme Court and the government had quelled the major wave of protests, and stability returned, though discontent over inequality and corruption still simmers. Moving into 2024-2025, Peru is in a state of cautious stability. The government remains in control, security in tourist and expat cities is normal, but political news can shift quickly. So, who is Peru for? For those who want to live amid vibrant culture and living history, for those willing to learn a few Spanish phrases, to share a laugh with a market vendor, or to debate football with a cafe owner. For those who understand that politics may run hot, but daily life can still be peaceful, if you choose your corner wisely. And most importantly, Peru is a place where you can buy a ticket, not for a tour, but for a whole new life, at the price of the pension you already receive. If you've ever dreamed of waking up to the sound of old church bells, sipping a steaming cup of Andean coffee, and knowing you'll never have to renew your visa again, then maybe it's time to tap the number 4 below. 3. Brazil. The retirement dance. If retirement in many places means quiet afternoons on the porch, then in Brazil, it could be mornings on Copacabana Beach, afternoons listening to samba in a small square, and evenings when it's hard to sit still as the carnival drums begin to beat. Here, retirement doesn't mean slowing down. It means living to the fullest with colors, music, and human connection. Brazil welcomes foreign retirees with the Vitam 14 Visa, a golden ticket to turn a vacation into a long-term life. Requirements at least 60 years old, a foreign pension of at least USD 2,000, month transferred to Brazil each month, along with private health insurance, and a clean criminal record. Many consulates now grant permanent residency right from the start, or after just 1 year of temporary stay. And if you live here for 4 years with permanent residency, you can even apply for Brazilian citizenship, meaning you don't just stay. You truly belong here. In terms of cost, one person can live comfortably on around USD 1,000 a month in a mid-sized city. In smaller towns, the figure is much lower. Some places offer rent for only USD 300 a month, cheap food, and tables full of fresh tropical fruit. Of course, Rio or São Paulo will be more expensive, especially in upscale areas, where a one-bedroom rental can run USD 800, 1,200. But in return, the US dollar is strong here, and service costs, from a full-time housekeeper, USD 300 a month, to eating out for just USD 5, let you live far more freely than in the US. Brazil's healthcare system is both comprehensive and flexible. SUS, free public healthcare for all residents, including permanent foreign residents, ensures you're never left behind in an emergency. But if you want faster, more private service, private health insurance, at around USD 200, 300 pounds a month, opens the doors to modern hospitals, many of which meet international standards. Specialist visits cost just USD 50, 100, and a few days in the hospital may only be a few $100s, a fraction of US prices. In terms of safety, Brazil is a mix of dream spots and areas to avoid. Big cities have street crime, so avoid flashing valuables, and don't walk alone at night in unfamiliar neighborhoods. But cities like Curitiba, Florianopolis, and coastal towns in Bahia are peaceful, livable, and have sizable expat communities. Brazilians are friendly, easy to talk to, and if you learn a few words of Portuguese, their hearts will open to you right away. Brazil's politics went through a storm in early 2023, with riots in Brasilia, but President Lula's administration quickly stabilized the situation. Now, Brazil is focusing on infrastructure development, protecting the Amazon, and improving the economy. The political climate remains lively. Brazilians love to debate, but retirees' daily lives are little affected. In Brazil, retirement isn't confined to 4 walls. It's vibrant, full of laughter, and scented with BBQ smoke. This is a place where each day can start with the sound of waves and end with a samba. Write down all your thoughts. Show me where I'm wrong. I like that. 2. Mexico. A second home just a flight away. If Brazil is a fiery samba, then Mexico is a warm bolero. Slow, full of affection, and hard to leave. Here, mornings can start with a cup of coffee overlooking the mountains, afternoons at colorful markets filled with fresh produce, and evenings, listening to guitar music drifting from the town square in the cool breeze. Mexico welcomes you not only with the smiles of new neighbors, but also with long-term residency, which you can receive immediately. If you meet the financial requirements, the fastest way is to prove a high pension or large savings. The new 2025 standard can be as high as USD 7,000, 8,000 month, or USD 280,000 inch savings. Not enough? No problem. You can still choose the temporary resident route, requiring only USD 4,100 month in income, and after 4 years, you will automatically become a permanent resident, without any additional financial paperwork. But keep in mind, things may change in 2026. Cost of living in Mexico is the reason why more than 60,000 Americans are currently receiving their pensions here. With USD 700 1,200 month per person, you can live comfortably. Rent for USD 500 800, inexpensive food, and household services so common and affordable that you can hire weekly help without hesitation. Even in the most expensive places, like San Miguel de Allende or Puerto Vallarta, costs are still much lower than in mid-sized U.S. cities. Healthcare in Mexico is a major plus. The state-run IMSS system is open to residents for only USD 300-600 year, while high-quality private hospitals in major cities cost just a fraction of U.S. prices. Privat doctor visit cost USD 30-50. Medications are 30-60% cheaper, and many doctors have studied or worked in the U.S. and speak fluent English. This gives you peace of mind that you're well cared for, without breaking your budget. In terms of safety, Mexico has its places to avoid, but it also has countless peaceful areas, from Mérida in Yucatán to the highland towns of Ajijic, Chapala, or Oaxaca. Here, neighbors know your name, local restaurants remember your favorite dish, and festivals happen year-round. The simple rule: choose the right place, stay engaged in the community, and follow basic safety habits. Politically, Mexico is relatively stable, and while the 2024 elections are sparking debates, the country's tradition of peaceful power transitions remains strong. The government not only keeps the doors open for international retirees, but also considers them part of the local economy, something unlikely to change in the near future. All in all, Mexico offers a retirement, close enough to visit home, but far enough that every day is a new experience. Here, you can immerse yourself in the culture while maintaining a connection to your old life, a balance few places can achieve. If every morning you open the door to golden sunlight, every noon is a plate of fragrant tacos, and every evening is the lively sound of mariachi, would you be ready to pack your bags and come here? Comment: I want to live in Mexico, if you can already smell the tortillas in your dreams. And don't forget to like plus subscribe to keep exploring the world's most enviable places to live. 1. Guatemala, the land of eternal spring. If Mexico is the lively neighbor always inviting you to parties, then Guatemala is the warm, calm friend who asks you to sit on the porch, sip coffee, and gaze at volcanoes draped in clouds. This is a place with a cool highland climate year-round, a culture blending the vibrant Maya heritage with Spanish colonial influences, and a pace of life slow enough for you to savor every breath. What makes Guatemala attractive to American retirees is the pensionado visa, a key that leads straight to permanent residency without having to go through multiple stages. All you need is proof of a lifetime income of at least USD 1,250 month from a source outside Guatemala, pension, annuity, investment, to qualify. Want to bring dependents? Just add about USD 300 month per person. Once your application is approved, you'll receive a 5-year permanent residency card, easily renewable, along with appealing perks, such as exemption from foreign income tax. The ability to import one car and household goods, worth up to USD 25,000, without paying import duties. The cost of living here will make you smile every time you look at your expenses. Outside de Guatemala City, you can rent a 2-bedroom house for USD 400 month, buy fresh produce from the market for just a few dollars, and hire household help, while still having money left over. Even in expat hotspots, like Antigua, or around Lake Atitlan, USD 1,500 month is enough to live comfortably, eat out occasionally, and take short trips. One thing to note, electricity is a bit pricier than average, but with the eternal spring climate, you'll rarely need air conditioning. In terms of healthcare, the secret among expats in Guatemala is this. For minor illnesses, go to a nearby private clinic. For serious conditions, head to Guatemala City. Private hospitals in the capital have doctors trained in the US or Europe, modern equipment, and costs that are only a fraction of US prices. USD 40 for a specialist consultation, and just a few $1,000s for surgeries. Private health insurance here is also inexpensive, only a few hundred US dollars per year, for a basic plan at age 65. To be fair, the public healthcare system here is still underdeveloped, so most foreigners choose private care or international insurance. Safety in Guatemala is uneven. Certain urban areas and nighttime routes do carry risks. However, the safe havens for retirees, such as Antigua, Panama, or the villages around Lake Atitlan, are peaceful, with a visible tourist police presence, tight-knit expat communities, and friendly neighbors. The key lies in choosing the right location, traveling during the day, and integrating into the community. Politically, Guatemala recently experienced a feel-good political drama. In 2023, anti-corruption candidate Bernardo Arevalo won the election. Despite efforts by the old guard to block him, hundreds of thousands of citizens, especially from the indigenous community, peacefully protested for weeks to protect the election results. In January 2024, Arevalo was inaugurated as planned, sparking hope for a more transparent era. At present, 2025, the country remains stable, reforms are underway, and daily life in expat areas remains completely unaffected. Guatemala is not for those seeking a bustling urban life like New York, but if you long for a place with fresh air, neighbors who remember your name, and mornings that open to a painting of mountains, clouds, and lake, this might just be your springtime haven. You've just gone through 5 countries ready to grant you free permanent residency in just 24 hours. Not for you to abandon your homeland, but for you to rediscover yourself, to find freedom, joy, and the feeling that each day you wake up is a gift, not a race to pay off debts. Life doesn't give us the right to choose where we begin, but we always have the right to choose where we continue and end in a way that's truly worthy. Maybe you've thought, one day, I'll go. But one day isn't on the calendar. There's only today and the decision you make. Opportunities like this don't knock twice. If your heart has stirred, even for just one beat, don't let it sink back down. Because who knows? 24 hours from now, you might not just be dreaming about another life. You might already be living it. If this video speaks to your dream, hit like so more people can find the same door to freedom as you. And don't forget to subscribe so that each week we can explore more places that can turn one day into right now.